Welcome. In this video, I have made a discovery at a secondhand flea market of a extremely weathered, very crushed cowboy hat that is in pretty rough condition. And as I was able to acquire the hat, the band is gone. It's covered in feathers. It's covered in material from the inside of the other hat. So it needs cleaned up. And that's going to be today's video, is restoring this hat from a outdoor secondhand thrift market. I have a scrub brush in hand, and I'm going to start scrubbing, getting all of the old pieces of feathers and getting all the dust, dirt, grime, and other stuff off the material of the hat. So relax and enjoy as I narrate. Today's video is narrated a little bit differently, simply because of the amount of wind when I was doing the actual project. I had done a full voice audio, recorded everything, and talked and described through the process, only to find that with the amount of wind gusting, the noise was unacceptable. So here I am doing a voiceover. I hope that you enjoy it. Leave a note or a comment down in the comment section below and let me know what you think of voiceover video versus narrating as I'm going through the process. Here I am scrubbing off feather pieces, dust, and dirt, and the little kitchen scrubber is working quite well for this. The hat itself, very crushed, had a little bit of glue from the hat band that had dripped onto the material of the hat. Lots of feathers, and it was very crushed. So during this process, first getting the dirt off, and then next I'm going to work on restoring the shape of the hat. And just getting all the cleaning done. First using the brush, cleaning off the feathers, cleaning off little bits of glue from the previous hat band, and doing the best to not remove any of the felt material, but simply remove the dirt, the feathers, and other things that don't belong on the hat. So it's going through the process right there. You can see on the inside it has a red liner in the hat. The tag simply says "Made in USA," and the size is medium. The hat is not of high enough quality that the manufacturer would want to tell us their name. So definitely a entry-level hat. And as I now have this hat, I would like to have it be a wearable hat. And it has a nice, appealing look to it. And it fits my head very well. So going to take the time and clean it. Here I've switched from the brush to using a kitchen scouring sponge and the little Scotch pad scrubber on the back. So with a little bit of water, getting the sponge damp, cleaning up the surfaces really well, and helping to get the last remaining bits of dust, dirt, and pieces of feathers from the previous hat band. As we're going through this process, getting everything cleaned up, I've been contemplating how to get the wrinkles out of the hat. Ideally, it would need a hat block, and from the material that I found on YouTube talking about restoring hats, it seems like using steam would be the best way to restore the shape of the hat. So that's my first attempt, is by using steam. And as I don't have a hat steamer, I will be creatively making use of what's available to me. You can see how the shape of the hat is very crushed. It's got a lot of wrinkles, some folds in it, and it's holding together well enough that it may be worth getting those wrinkles out. So I'm going to use a water kettle and a plastic bag, and placing the hat into the plastic bag and getting the water kettle boiling. I'm attempting to create an atmosphere inside the bag that would be very humid, lots of steam, and hopefully warm enough that it would warm the hat some. I realized the limitations of this, and as I proceeded, the steam did not work. So I changed the plan. And instead of using steam, I'm going to be using a hairdryer as a heat gun. And I have a section of tarp that's rolled up that I'm going to use as a makeshift hat block. And it just happens to stretch the hat nicely and does the job of the hat block. Now, the steam was not effective in getting the wrinkles and the folds to come out of the material of the hat. So here, with a hairdryer being used as a heat gun, I am warming the material. And this hat, an entry-level hat, nothing significant, probably a very cheap hat, seems to have a bit of plastic under the felt. And so the hairdryer is working well in softening that plastic material, allowing it to reshape as the hat is being stretched over the makeshift hat block that I made. And as I'm going through all the different position and stretching, this is a bit of a process. While it's much faster than making a hat, I would imagine, it is fairly straightforward. All I'm doing is getting the creases out. All I'm doing is working on getting it back to what seemed like the original shape. One thing that I learned from videos of restoring hats is that the first step is to shape the hat on the hat block into a round shape and let it cool, give it time to set into its new shape of being round and matching the hat block. And then I'll go back and add the creases and add the little design elements where the top of the hat would be creased in intentionally. But that's going to wait. For now, it's just molding onto the hat block. And using the heat gun, not quite melting the plastic, but simply allowing the plastic to go into its flexible, moldable level of being warm enough, but not so hot that it's melted. And fortunately did not burn any holes in it. That was something I was being very cautious of. And as I'm continuing to run the heat gun here, the results are turning out really good, and continuing to do the shaping. The shaping of the hat is one of the things that I was most concerned about when I first acquired the hat. And as it is coming together and it's starting to shape to the round shape of the original hat design without the decorative creases, I'm pleased. And we'll spend a few more minutes here with the hairdryer heating the hat. And I'll mention that as I'm working on the shape of the hat, I'm thinking about what kind of a hat band would I want for this hat. This is a slightly rugged looking, well-worn, secondhand hat, and it feels like something that's very out in nature, something that perhaps a cowboy would wear, or someone who is out doing primitive skills in the wilderness. And that attracted me to the hat in the first place. So here I am shaping the hat, thinking about the hat band, and I decided that I would use the yucca fiber and the skills that I have of how to braid and weave the fibers and make a hat band out of yucca fiber. For those who have not yet seen other videos where I talk about crafting out of yucca fiber material, check out my videos on yucca cordage and how to dye and color the yucca, and about the Balearic sling and how the braiding and twisting comes together. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. For now, we're just doing the shaping, we're doing the heating, and it's starting to take its shape. It's coming along nicely. And the efforts to clean and scrub, getting all the dirt and feather pieces off has been working well. This morning I've been spending a few minutes processing some yucca fibers, laying it out in the sun so that the sun will bleach it. And we're back. The fiber has been bleached, and I'm beginning the process of braiding. For this braid, I'm doing a 7-strand braid so that the hat band is wide like a belt. You can see here as I'm trimming the loose fibers off that the 7-strand braid makes a nice width, which turned out exactly like I was hoping for the hat band. And again, for more information on the yucca fiber processing and the braiding, see some of the other videos about the natural yucca fiber. As I'm using the lighter and singeing the trimmed ends of the yucca fibers on the belt or the band that I made for the hat band, I'm realizing that the fiber on the ends of the belt almost look like feathers. Well, not that they look like feathers, but they could take the place of the feathers on the hat. So as I'm getting it all fit and situated, adding leather as a binder between the two ends of the hat band, I'm considering leaving the natural yucca fibers to be the decorative piece that normally a feather would take the place of on that left side of the hat. And the fibers are plenty long and they'll get trimmed. And I'm adding here some yellow and some brown dyed yucca fiber. So even though they are distinctly different in their color, it's the same fiber, and it's meant to tie in the natural yucca fiber headband and the artistic flair of having a feather or other decoration on the hat. So as I'm trimming this up, getting all the pieces looking the way that they would fit for size and style, getting all those situated. And if you want to learn more about crafting with yucca, such as the braiding or the dyeing or processing the fiber, take a look at other videos that I have on my channel for crafting with yucca fiber. There's instruction on how to make yucca cordage, how to also make a Balearic sling, which is more of the braiding. And that'll be more detailed on the instructions of how to craft things out of the yucca fiber. This is simply an application that turned out to be a lot of fun and hadn't exactly planned for it. But as I was crafting the hat band and the ends of the fibers looked like feathers, thought that this could be very creative. Here I'm contact cementing the hat band to the hat, as I don't want the hat band to be falling off or moving in its positioning. And snugging that hat band on nice and pressed into the glue, and the fibers are making a little bit of a flare, and the hat is ready to wear. There it is, all completed, and hope you enjoyed watching this restoration of a hat. See you next time.